So, the Padres are really good, and they should be talked about. So, um, obviously, they're still fresh off of that thing against the Rangers where, the quote unquote unwritten rules happen. And yeah, I mean, we really don't have to get deep into it. You know, Tatis did what he was doing. You know, he hit a grand slam, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Unwritten rules are stupid sometimes. So, let's talk about this San Diego team because they're pretty interesting to talk about. Um, they're 34-20 going into September 21st, and they got the Dodgers in company, who I think that they're only 4 games back, I want to say. Yeah, they're like 4 games back. They're going to get second in the NL West. It would be entirely impossible for the Dodgers to lose like 4 in a row out of nowhere, and then the Padres will take it. No, this is not going to happen, man. I wish it was the case, but I don't think it will happen. So, what's there to talk about the Padres? Well, first of all, they got the two most interesting players, one of the two interesting players in MLB, Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis. Tatis only being 21 years old. He's been nothing but great since he came into the league. I mean, him and Machado are like neck and neck when it comes to home runs. Machado's got 16, Tatis got 15, and San Diego is just a fun team to watch, And they got a pretty good core when it comes to their hitting. I mean, I always liked Austin Hedges. He's always been a really good player throughout his career, just with the Padres in general. I think if I remember correctly, he did play for Cleveland for a little bit, and then he got traded back. Yeah, it's so weird, man, how that happens. But anyways, you got Eric Hosmer. He's pretty good too. And yeah, they just got a really fun team to watch, And along that, they have probably one of the more interesting pitchers in baseball right now, Chris Paddock. Some people were saying that he was going to be a dark horse contender for the Cy Young Award. He's not having a great season, I mean, everybody's affected by this whole thing that's been happening this year with the season and all that. ERA's at a 4.43. The sheriff. He'll have a bounce back year next year, But the one guy that I think everybody's been really like, wow, he's been pretty good this year is Lamet. And he's been nothing but special for them. I mean, he took a whole 2-point ERA jump from last year to this year. He has just been striking out guys left and right. 89 strikeouts in 65. Yeah, that'll get it done. Along with only giving up very few home runs, like 5. That's pretty good, man. If anything, he's like in contention of the Cy Young. So they have a really good situation when it comes to their pitching. I mean, they got Lamet, Paddock, and now in the trade deadline, they got Mike Clevinger, who, if I remember correctly, he just, I think he already played 3 games with them, and he's expected to be where he's at. 3 ERA, with a 2-1 record, which that doesn't mean anything, to be honest with you. But his strikeouts and innings per pitch, innings pitched, it's right where it's supposed to be. They're like neck and neck to each other. But the one thing he's really good at is not getting guys to getting hits. Getting hits, line drives, and all that. He's very good when it comes to limiting guys. I mean, his whip is right where it's supposed to be. Actually, it's gotten better since he left Cleveland. Interesting enough. So, San Diego's getting a good part of Clevinger. I mean, besides that, they got a pretty good. They have some really interesting guys in the relievers. One guy in particular is Pierce Johnson and Tim Hill. They're pretty good. They'll get the job done, but it's a little weak on that area. But as long as the hitting's rolling and the starting pitching is like on point, the relieving shouldn't be as important if that makes sense. So there you go. And plus, they got Drew Pomeranz, who has been really good for them. I mean, 24 strikeouts, 17 innings pitched. Hasn't blown a save, I don't think, this year, if I remember correctly. No, he hasn't. So that's something to have for your closer to be. So, So what is there to talk about the San Diego Padres? They're legit, and I think they're gonna be sticking around for a long time. A lot of people were questioning why did San Diego win the bid war for Machado. It's because they got a really strong farm, man. They got a lot of young guys who are not only in the MLB right now, but in AAA. If I remember correctly, there's a kid coming up, C.J. Abrams, and another kid too, and they look like really good future assets for this Padre team. So, watch out for the Padres, man. They're gonna be sticking around for quite a while, I would say, at least until we'll see what happens next year, and if they're actually legit. I think they're legit. So, let's talk about them, because I think we should be talking about why this team is interesting. Well, first of all, they're hot. I mean, there's no question about that, right? But if we look at the NL standings right now, they're fourth seed. Yeah, they're the fourth seed at the moment. So that would mean that they're facing. I think they're either going to face the Marlins. I know that sounds weird to say out loud. The Marlins might be in playoff contention, which I will make another video about that, or the Phillies. Can they beat them? Yeah. I think they're very capable of doing that. And they're going to be it's going to be a really interesting series to watch because, San Diego, they haven't had a lot of playoff success for the past decade. And this is kind of like the first time in a while since we've seen the Padres being, good. They got a really good team. There's really nothing else to say. I mean, the NL West right now, very top heavy, but they're actually it's still a pretty good division. As long as the Rockies can get together, which I already made a video about that. The Giants, they're a 500 team, and the Diamondbacks are the Diamondbacks. They just can't get anything right. So when we talk about Padres and their chances of going into a deep playoff run, is it possible? Yeah, I think it's possible. They're going to have to face teams like the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Braves. Is there going to be a chance where the Padres can go to the NLCS? Depends on who their second round matchup is. I mean, the Cubs, they were pretty hot from the get-go. They look, and in their first 10 games, I think they won 9-1 or 8-2. And then they kind of cooled off. So, I don't know, man. I think the thing with the Padres is that, the reason why they got Clevenger was, that's their ace for the future. They got him for the next 2 or 3 years. I forgot his contract situation looking like. I think it's 4 years. So, we'll see how that goes. So, like I said before, their first round matchup is either going to be in the Marlins, the Phillies. So, there you go. And I think it's a very winnable series for the Padres. They could lose. I would honestly, if I'm a Padres fan, I would be more scared about facing the Phillies and the Marlins. So, there you go. And if they win the first round, they're probably going to face the Dodgers because they're the best team in the NL. And usually how the 8th seed playoffs go is that, the 4th, 5th seed, whoever wins that series usually faces the 1st seed. And this is the first time that's implemented. So is it going to stick around? I don't know. Probably. They would have to face the Dodgers. Now, knowing the Dodgers, they haven't had Lady Luck come their way for the past couple of years. You know, like last year they lost to the Nationals when, you know, that whole thing with Kershaw, David Roberts happened. And then, Kershaw he just pitched the night before. All that sort of stuff, right? New year, new setting, whatever. How would the series go against the Padres and the Dodgers? I would honestly think it's going to be a really close one. Now, I don't remember if it's going to be... I think it's a 5-game set, so that makes sense. So because it's the NLDS, after all. If you would have to ask me right now who would win that series, I would say the Dodgers. They're just loaded with talent. Bellinger, Mookie Betts is just a really hot player. They have a really great pitching staff. May, Kershaw, what's that kid's name? Bauer? Not Bauer. I look like an idiot, but that's fine. But anyways, they have a really good pitching staff. And I just don't see this Padres team being capable enough to just hit off these guys. Unless the Dodgers become the Dodgers and they just collapse out of nowhere. Is it going to happen this year? Honestly, I really don't think so. I think they're World Series favorites. So if I have to choose, I would say Dodgers in 4. And I think it'd be pretty close games as well. But if you're a Padres fan, I mean, you have nothing but to look forward to the future because this team is going to get better and better over time. They got a really good pool when it comes to their farm. I mean, they are looking really good. C.J. Abrams. And if I remember correctly, they got another guy coming up that looks very promising. I can't think of his name right now. So yeah, man. I mean, if anything, the Padres are here to stay. They shown that by acquire some guys in the trade deadline. It's gonna look really interesting, man. Looking forward, it's looking like that the Dodgers, the Padres, the Braves are the teams to compete for the NL for the long run, and a bunch of dark horse contenders. I hate to say this, but the Cubs are. I don't really have a lot of faith in the Cubs when it comes to making a deep playoff run. I don't think they're that capable enough to go to the NLDS unless they get someone like a Nolan Ariano. That could be a possibility. So we'll have to wait and see.